Hey friends, I hope you're doing well. I just heard about Robbie Robertson passing away. And I figured I'd come out here and say a few words. It just stopped raining, so hopefully I don't get rained on in the middle of this. But man, if Robbie Robertson, if the only thing he ever did was write the weight, that would be enough, for him to be an all-time legend. To think of all of the all-star jams that end with all of the people coming out and singing the weight together and playing it together. That's a huge contribution to write a song that goes across the community in such a way that everyone knows it and they can all join in and sing and share. People who've never met each other get up on stage and sing that together. That's like Woody Guthrie type stuff. That's serious, continuation of folk music into all the other things. The band created this sound that carved out this little space of this whole other kind of music, whether it's a subgenre or whatever, that continues to this day. And so many bands try really hard to fit into whatever this little world that they carved out was. Some do well, some don't. But they had their own sound, and Robbie Robertson is a huge part of that. The weight is absolutely perfect in every way, but their performance of it is just, next level stuff. If you can listen to that and not be moved, I don't know what to say. I don't know. I can't help you. You might want to get that checked out. But when I think of Robbie Robertson, like I said, this is all off the top of my head. I think of those movie soundtracks, the Scorsese stuff, where, was it Raging Bull? The Wolf of Wall Street, Casino. That's a whole other career. If that's the only thing he ever did, that's huge. All that great music for all these great films. And he's also acted in Carney. I remember seeing that movie when it came out, but I was really, really young. And I don't remember if it was good or not, but it was Gary Busey and Jodie Foster. That has to be good. Have you guys seen Carney? Tell me down below what you thought of it. So I'm thinking about Robbie Robertson. I'm thinking about, there's a video of him on stage with Dylan in Newcastle. I think it's 1966. They're ending the set, or ending the concert with Like a Rolling Stone. And the camera follows, they're done. It sounds tremendous. And then they finish. The camera follows them off stage through the back, through the tunnels and all of that stuff. Looks like they're about to have a Spinal Tap moment. Everything starts speeding up and the camera's like racing and shaking, trying to keep up with them. But Dylan and Robbie Robertson are running off stage. They run outside through all of these fans and in the darkness, and they jump in a cab or a limousine, and the camera jumps in too. And it's just this moment of the lunacy of being on the road with Dylan right then. But right there in the back of the limo at the end of this clip is Robbie Robertson just kind of sitting there quietly as Dylan's looking around kind of like, what the hell's going on? And it's just a beautiful glimpse of, 30 seconds, 60 seconds from the stage to the limo, and they're out of there. It's right when everything had to have been going completely nuts for Dylan, and there's Robbie Robertson right there. Speaking of Dylan, here's a quote from Bob Dylan about Robbie Robertson. It says, Robbie Robertson is the only mathematical guitar genius I've ever run into who does not offend my intestinal nervousness with his rear guard sound. That's a compliment from Dylan, but it's a little bit strange. I don't think of Robbie Robertson as a mathematical guitar genius. It feels like, a guy who's all feel and is not doing math when he's playing music, which is a huge compliment for me to say that. I got up this morning and I listened to the Basement Tapes, and that's the first thing I would go to. When I'm thinking of Robbie Robertson, I always think of his stuff with Dylan, even though the band was absolutely amazing. That's the stuff I think of. But also the there's the clip in the Last Waltz where Dylan's up and Ronnie Wood comes on stage, and there's Neil Young and Joni. There's maybe, I think Van Morrison is up there, and they're playing I Shall Be Released. And there's Dylan on the main microphone, Robbie Robertson, and I think Van Morrison is right there with him. And it might be my favorite version of I Shall Be Released. It's just beautiful. All those great voices just singing together, and it's great. And as the song ends, they cut to Robbie Robertson. There's an interview with him, and this is what he says there, which I think is beautiful. He says, the road was our school. At the end, it was our sense of survival. It taught us all we know. There's not much left that we can really take from the road. We've had our share of, or maybe it's just superstitious. And then Martin Scorsese says, superstitious in what way? Robbie Robertson says, no, you can press your luck. The road has taken a lot of great ones. Hank Williams, Buddy Holly, Otis Redding, Janis, Jimi Hendrix, Elvis. It's a goddamn impossible way of life. There's no question about it. And that little bitty segment there is one of my favorite parts of The Last Waltz. And is there a better concert film ever made than The Last Waltz? I know that's not really going way out on a limb there to say that, but there's a lot of great concert films out there, but man, the band and Scorsese, and then all the cast of characters that come on also, I can't think of a better one. If you can think of a better one, tell me down below. There might be some that are just as good. If I am hard pressed, I might think of Woodstock is pretty damn great, but I think the Last Waltz just is a whole nother animal. Some of you guys might remember this, but there used to be before YouTube, when you could get on here and learn how to play whatever song, they used to get famous guitar players or whatever to do a VHS tape, an instructional tape showing how to play some of their songs. And usually it was the Shredders and stuff like that. There's a great Steve Lukather one that was just kind of amazing to see people playing like that. Back then I just didn't know how to do all of that. But there was a Robbie Robertson one that was just really cool. There's a clip from there of him showing how to play the intro to The Wait. And he plays it, and it's like some double stops and extended pentatonic thing or whatever, and he shows the lick, but he completely downplays the lick, the notes, and all of that. And he says something to the effect of, that's unimportant. What's important is the attitude. The attitude of what you're playing here is everything. And people think of attitude as, like the hard rock, tough guy, all that stuff. And but I think what he's saying right there, he's just talking about the feel and like putting yourself in that headspace. And there's a way those folks played, and the way he played. And he learned, he's such a historian, and he learned from these people that came before. And you think of how would Hubert Sumlin play this, and folks like that. Steve Cropper, there's just this way that people used to play, and you just don't see many people that play like that, because there's too many people who grew up hearing Van Halen and stuff like that, and it creeps into their playing. And this is my opinion, and I say this quite a lot, but a guy like Robbie Robertson, in that moment in his life, the way he'd heard people play guitar was a certain way, and to be able to, like when the band is playing, they don't have all of these influences of hearing Guns N' Roses records later in life and being influenced by it. So when you hear people trying to sound like the band now, it just isn't the same. I mean, it really isn't the same. Sometimes there's like some good from it and all that, but these guys had all of this different intake, and they didn't have some of the intake that would, the petri dish wasn't spoiled, we'll say, and it makes it something special. It really does, and it won't happen again. At least not that particular thing. There will be other things that are great that will happen, but it'll have a different recipe. That's my opinion. I'm going to stick with that and go along with it. But if you see that Starlicks cassette, or I don't remember who made it, it really is telling, and it's interesting. I think there was a Levon Helm drum one also, and it was just really cool hearing him. He would show how he's playing something, but he would talk about it, and the idea behind what he's playing, or the feel was as important, if not more, because lots of people could play notes or beats, but to bring that to where it has this life to it that we all feel, that's a whole other thing, and most of us never get there. Rarefied air. I never got to see Robbie Robertson live. I never got to see the band. Did you guys get to see him? Did you see him at all? I'd love to hear about that down below. There was one chance that I had. It was early 90s. I was working at a bar in Indianapolis called The Patio, and same owners had another club called The Vogue. It's about 800 seat capacity standing. The band was on the itinerary. They were booked to play there, and I was losing my mind. I couldn't believe that it wouldn't be at an arena. And just the idea that I was going to get to see them and be standing there and be 30 feet away from them, it just was amazing, and I was looking forward to it. It was a beautiful, special thing. Something happened. It got canceled about 2 weeks ahead of time. It was going to be on a Monday night. I don't know whether they canceled the whole tour or what. I don't even know what tour. I don't know who was in the band at that particular time, what version of it would be. Maybe you guys saw them around then, but I thought it was 92, 3. It might have been as late as 94. I'm not sure. But that's the only shot I ever had, and I really wish I could have seen it, but I missed out on it. But if you got to see him, why don't you tell me down below? And what's your favorite song that he was part of? Like I said, I love the Dylan stuff. And my buddy Todd Fox and I, years ago, we were up around Woodstock, New York. It was the first time we were ever up there. And we were like, hell with it. We're going to go find Big Pink. I don't know what we thought we were going to do when we got there, but we were going to find Big Pink. And at the time, we didn't have internet. We didn't have a cell phone, where you could look things up and Google Maps and all that. We had a Rand McNally road map that I had looked up and asked questions before, and I pointed on this map, I wrote a little X somewhere on the street map, and we drove around for about 3 hours and we never found it. And the truth is, we probably found it, but it wasn't Pink anymore, so we didn't. I think they turned it into an Airbnb or something since then. I've still never been by there, but I'd like to make some kind of an homage to there one of these days. And I think it was an Airbnb where you could stay at it. But did any of you guys ever stay there? Do you have any memories of it? I don't know. What's your favorite songs that Robbie Robertson was part of? I don't even know where I would start, and I'm sure that's going to be the popular answer. But I'm going to go in and I'm going to listen through some stuff and spend the rest of the day just immersed in some Robbie Robertson. Anyway, I hope you guys are doing well, and take a load off Robbie. And much love to you.